All good. All right. So, just a quick recap of what we did yesterday. So, yesterday we have looked at your uh, metrics, right? So, how you can look at the metrics of your S3 buckets, and then we also looked at your properties, right? The management. So we looked at your life cycle management. So life cycle management can be used whenever you want to automatically transition your data from one storage class to another storage class. So we can make use of your sorry, we can make use of your life cycle management for that, right? Post that, we'll look at your replication rules. So replication rules can be used when you want to automatically replicate your data from one S3 bucket to another S3 bucket. We can make use of your replication rules for that. So under this, you will generally have one source bucket and one destination bucket. And then whatever the data that you will upload in your source bucket, that data will automatically get replicated in the destination bucket, right? So that's your replication rules. And then we also discussed a bit about set the permissions at the bucket level, and then how you can set the permissions at the object level, and then a bit more like how you can uh, uh, delete the bucket, how you can empty the object. So to delete the bucket, you'll have to first delete all the objects in the bucket, and only then you will be able to delete the bucket. So we looked at that, and that is where we had stopped in the last session. uh, Now today we will be starting off with your next service, which will be your not a service but more of a next concept, which is going to be your CLI. All right. So yesterday we discussed a bit about it. So I told you that there are different ways that you can work with AWS. Right. So one is obviously the console. And then you have the CLI, you have SDKs, you have API calls that can be done. Now, in real time, there might be a case where you have to work with the CLI as well. Sometimes, all right. That's where you will have to be comfortable with the CLI as well, so that you can. One moment, sorry. Sorry. Yeah. So like I was saying, sometimes there might be a case where you may get a task of working with the CLI. I'm not telling you will definitely work with it, but here every now and then there might be a requirement where you may want to work with the CLI as well. All right. So that's what we are going to look at. So we will basically look at how you can um, uh, you know um, install the CLI tool, how you can authenticate, and then we'll also look at some examples of how you can run the commands and all those things. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. Mm, I just need 1 minute. Sorry. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. Sorry. And Okay, sorry, just give me 1 minute. There's some problem. Okay, sorry, I just need couple of minutes. Very sorry. Just give me 2 minutes. Okay. Sorry, sir. I'm very sorry, guys. I think I'm done now, so I should be able to do this. Okay. So, talking about your CLI. All right. So CLI, it stands for command line interface. All right. And this is another way that you can use to interact with AWS. So the console that you have, the UI that we have, that's obviously one way. And like I said, sometimes there might be a need for you to interact with your AWS using commands as well, using some programs or using some commands as well. And that is what we are going to look at now. All right, so let me open up the PPT. All right. So, like I said, CLI, it stands for Command Line Interface. So AWS CLI, it's an open source tool that provides commands for interacting with AWS services. So here you will basically use the terminal. You can either use the command prompt or terminal if you're on a Linux machine, and you can start using the commands, the AWS commands, built-in commands to interact with the AWS services. Like for example, let's say you want to launch an instance, you want to create an S3 bucket, or you want to interact with your maybe your CloudWatch. So basically, any services you want to interact with, you can do that by making use of this CLI. So with minimal configurations, you can start using all of the functionality provided by the AWS Management Console from your favorite terminal program. Okay, so with just a few steps, by doing that additional steps, you can set up your CLI and you can start interacting with the AWS and do whatever you want using that CLI. So your CLI, it is platform independent. All right, so you can make use of your Linux shell, so you can use Linux, Windows, Mac OS, whatever you want to use, you can make use of it to work with the AWS. So you can work with the Linux machines, which can you can use your bash, sorry, so bash, zsh, tsch to run commands in Linux, Mac OS, or Linux machines. You can make use of your Windows command line, so you can run commands on your Windows PowerShell, or you can make use of the command prompt, or you can also utilize your remote machines like EC2 instances. All right, so anything you want to use, you can utilize it. There's no dependency. It is completely platform independent. Now, to start working with this, the first thing you'll have to do is you'll have to install the CLI. All right. Now, I told you that the CLI can be installed anywhere you want, any platform you want to work with, your CLI can be installed. So let's say, uh,
So in previous class, we installed SSH, right? So how is it different from CLI? So that doesn't support CLI.
okay, so your SSH is a protocol that we use to connect to remote machines,
Okay.
like Linux machines, Linux remote machines. If you want to, like, RDP, do you know RDP?
Remote desktop.
Right. So RDP is specifically for Windows machines. So if you want to like connect to any Windows machine, like from one machine to another machine, if you want to establish that connectivity, we make use
Okay.
of your RDP.
Okay.
Now, likewise, for your Linux machines, we have
Okay.
SSH.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so SSH is an equivalent of your RDP, but in this case,
Mhm.
your RDP is for Windows machine, and
Okay.
SSH is for your Linux machines.
Okay.
All right. So that is only for the connectivity part, connecting to your servers. That's it.
Mhm.
So now let's say this is my AWS account. Right now I want to interact with this from command line, from the terminal. Let's say from this terminal. Like I said, you can use Windows command prompt, PowerShell, whatever you want, you can use it. But let's say terminal. In my case, I'm on Mac, so let's say terminal. Now, the first thing you will have to do is you have to install your CLI. For the sake of example, I will be using an EC2 instance, but you can do the same thing. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me do it on a Windows machine so that I'm assuming you're on Windows laptop, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so let me launch one Windows instance then. So I will show this example on Windows machine itself so that you will be able to practice it. Um, but this will take some time, which is fine. So let's wait for this instance to come up. But ideally, once you have your server, step one will be for you to install your CLI, AWS CLI. So here, we'll have the instructions for installing your CLI. And this can be installed anywhere you want. You want to install this on Linux, Mac OS, Windows, anywhere you want, you can install it. So here you should have this file that we can download, an installer file that we can download, and we can run this, which will install the CLI for us. So here will be your instructions for installing your CLI. Okay, so you can just follow this one, which will help you to install the CLI. So that will be your step one. Now, because now in this case, what will happen is your Windows will be your local machine, right? Now, from your local machine, you want to do something on a AWS platform, which is a different application altogether. Now, what do you think I will need between your local machine and the AWS? I will need some additional configuration. Any idea what that would be?
Mm, you mean the PEM? The PEM file we have to create and we have to connect to the RDP, but after that,
Now again, see that is connecting to servers, but in this case, I want to connect to the AWS console itself,
okay.
right? So, I mean, authentication is ideally what we need. So, what you were trying to say was correct, but just that in this case, we won't be needing the RDP. Rather, we need to set up the authentication.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we talk about your authentication, IAM is a service that we will be using. All
Okay.
right. So, what we can do is if you are using local machines, right? So, we will have to use your access key and secret key for the authentication.
Okay.
Okay, if you are using an EC2 instance, so you can use EC2 instance also to work with CLI. Now, if you're using EC2 instances, we can make use of your IAM role.
Mhm.
Makes sense. So it depends on where you're running your CLI. So if your CLI is installed on, like, let's say, non-AWS platform, okay, it is not on the AWS platform, the VM, like maybe let's say it's your virtual machine or your local machine, your window, your laptop, or some other virtual machine. In that case, you'll have to go with your access key and secret key. And if it's an EC2 instance, which is already running in AWS, then you can simply make use of your IAM role. Make sense?
Yeah, got it.
Okay, so let me see if I can connect to this. So I'll give my username, I'll give my password. So you can think of this as a local machine. All right, this is my Windows local machine. So the first thing we will have to do is we will have to install the tool, this tool. So let me that's this. Mm, uh, just need to do one additional step for this. It seems to be slow, guys. Sorry. Um, Let me take this. Okay, so step one, we will begin with installing your CLI. So we will use this.
So if it is too slow, like one of us will share a screen and then we can configure our laptop itself.
Yeah, that's one option I would guess. I think that would be better if this seems to be really slow for me. Let's do one thing. Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll stop
I'll share
sharing.
it.
Yeah, one of you can share, start sharing, and we can. I'll guide you through that.
Okay, perfect. Uh, Guys, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can.
Yes, yes, we can see.
Yeah, so you can run that. Yeah, go to Windows.
It's pretty slow.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's installed. Now what you can do is, now once the CLI is installed, you can either use the PowerShell or command prompt, whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay.
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 So you can open up one of that,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can validate whether your CLI is installed or not by running AWS space hyphen version. So this will tell you whether your CLI is installed or not. Okay, so
Okay.
now we have the CLI installed. Next step would be to set up your authentication. So
Okay.
because we are going to use like the local machine, right? So local machine and AWS, these are two different things now. So we'll have to set up the authentication. So in this case, we will be making use of your access key and secret key, because it's not an EC2 instance. If it was an EC2 instance, then you can simply utilize IAM role for the
Mm.
authentication. Okay. But now since we're using local machine, we'll have to go to the IAM service, and we will need to have one user.
So I
Okay.
have to
So
create a role or a
no,
user?
in this case will be a user, because again, see, your IAM role would be only if you're using an EC2 instance.
Okay.
Okay, but here it's your local machine, so IAM role will not work.
Okay.
Okay, so you can deleted both the users. Okay, fine, no problem. Okay, so you can go ahead and create one user here.
Okay. I don't have to add any policies, is it?
No, you will need, because depending on what permissions you will give here, that is what you will be able to do from the CLI.
Okay. So what is the
Maybe you can give admin access. So this is again, from the CLI, what all you can do is
Okay.
basically what you're defining here. So let's say we will give admin access so that you can do whatever you want.
Okay. I'll create the user.
Yes. Now you don't have to log into it.
Okay.
Now once you have this, go back to your user. Yeah,
Okay.
go back to the user. Click on your user, and we will need to generate your access key and secret key.
Okay.
All right. So to do that, you can click on the user, and there you can see access key below.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So click on create, and this will be your CLI where you're going to use CLI. So we'll acknowledge
Okay.
this, your confirmation, and then next, and then
Okay.
create.
Okay.
So this will create your access key and secret key. So we will be using this access key and secret key for your
Okay.
authentication purpose. Now, how do we authenticate to AWS from your CLI?
Okay.
So once you're done installing your CLI, you can go to your CLI, whatever you have installed, like your command prompt in this case,
Okay.
and you will be
Uh,
running
sir,
this eight.
sir, I have one doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, for even I am doing like that only. I went to users and I have created one new user.
Okay.
After that, what we need to do?
And you have added the permissions as well.
Yeah, I added the permission.
Okay, so once the user is created, you can click on that user once again, and
Okay.
you will see security credentials option next to permissions. You will see
Okay.
security credentials. Do you see that?
Users. Click on
Click
security
on your
credentials.
user.
Security credentials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there, if you scroll down, you should see access keys.
Access keys. Access keys.
Click on
Now
create
create
access.
access keys. Okay.
Mhm.
CLI command line interface.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. Then next.
Next, and then create.
Okay. It's done, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Now, once you have the credentials, you can go to your
Command line.
command line and run this AWS configure command. AWS space configure.
That's it.
Yeah, hit enter. So this will first prompt you for the access key.
Okay.
Enter. Now the secret access key. Next, it will ask you for the region. In which region do you want to create the resources?
Virginia.
In your AWS, we have regions, right?
Yeah, Virginia works, right?
In one of these regions.
Okay.
So you'll be using US-East-1,
Okay.
which is North Virginia.
Okay.
And then output format, you have two options, JSON and text. Like, how do you want to see the output?
Okay.
Okay. Hit JSON, give JSON, enter, and that's it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so these four informations you will need to provide.
Okay.
Access key, secret key, region, and then your output format. Now, at
Okay.
any point, let's say now you want to work with a different region.
Okay.
You will again run this AWS configure command. Okay, try running that command once again.
Okay.
Hit enter. Now, in this case, we won't update the access key, so just hit enter.
Okay.
Hit enter, and then you will just change the region over here. Let's say you want to work with a different region, for example.
Okay.
Okay, likewise, if you want to change your access key and secret key, again, it's the same process.
Okay.
All right. Now, what this will do is this will create two files on your machine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so can you open up your file explorer
Okay.
and go to your users? So under C drive, go to users,
C drive. Okay.
use yeah, your username.
Okay.
And here you see that .aws folder, the first one.
Yeah.
Now, Bharat, if you're not able to see that, by default, any files that is having dot will be hidden.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can see. I can see.
Okay, then fine.
Configuration credentials. Config and credentials.
Yeah.
2 files I can see.
Correct. So this config, if you open up that config in Notepad,
Okay.
so this will have your access key and secret key.
Okay.
The one that we entered when we use the AWS configure command, whatever information you gave there, it is
Correct.
stored here. Likewise, the config file will have your region and output format.
Oh.
So one option is you can run the AWS configure command and then update it, or you can directly update in this file.
Okay, I can directly go here. I can directly go here and then change, right? Is it?
You can change here also.
Okay. So this will automatically update. Like, I don't have to do here.
Correct. So this is basically reading those files for you.
Okay, perfect.
So the same way you will have it on the Linux machine and the Mac OS machine as well.
Okay.
So everywhere it's the same. This is how you will be working with your CLI. Any questions until here?
No.
No, sir.
All right. Now that we have set our authentication, how do we work with AWS? Now, all of your commands will begin with AWS. Okay, on your CLI. At any point you want to interact with AWS, you will be starting your command with AWS. What are you looking for?
So what should I do? I'm sorry.
Command prompt in the command prompt.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So now if you don't know CLI, it's totally fine. There is a documentation available which will tell you as to what all commands you can use, how you can use the command.
Okay.
Now all of your commands will begin with AWS. Now let's say you don't know what is the next command you want to pass. So you have a help documentation that is available. So if you say AWS space help and hit enter.
Okay. So it's actually in the default region name. So how do I get back?
Control C, or just hit enter.
Okay. AWS help, is it?
Yeah. So this will open up a documentation.
Okay.
So if you scroll down, hit enter, enter. Keep hitting enter.
Okay.
Keep going. So here you can see these are all the services.
Okay.
So which service do you want to work? So let's say, for example, I want to work with IAM. So if you keep going down further down, you should find IAM. So this is in the alphabetical order.
Okay.
Okay. So C, D, E, F. Likewise, you'll have your IAM. So here you can also see EC2 and all those things.
Okay.
There you have IAM. So now let's say I want to work with IAM. So you can use Q. You can hit Q on your keyboard, which is for quit.
Okay.
So it'll come out. So now we will say AWS.
After it enter or
Yeah, you'll have to remove Q. Remove that Q.
Okay.
Yeah. So AWS space IAM. So now I'm telling I want to work with AWS. Second, I'm specifying which service I want to work with.
Okay.
Okay. And then again give help. Space help. Now what this will do is this will open up the documentation specifically for IAM.
Okay.
Hit enter. And again, if you keep going down, so here you can see this available commands. This is all the commands for IAM.
Okay.
Okay. So hold on, wait. So you see that create user in the middle of the screen?
Yeah.
That is for creating a user. Now let's say I want to see what all users are there in my AWS account. So further, if you keep on going down, you should see a list user command.
Okay.
Or yeah, so here you can see list groups further down.
I got it.
There's your list users.
Got it.
Now, let's say you don't know how to use this command.
Okay.
Again, press Q
Yeah.
And now again AWS IAM list hyphen users, and then again help. Now it will show you an example of how you can use this command.
Okay.
So further down, if you hit enter, if you keep going down, it will show you an example command as well. Keep going down. Yeah, so here you can see examples.
Yes.
Yeah, so you just have to run this AWS IAM list users, and this is the expected output.
Okay.
So now if you exit from here,
Exactly. Okay. Okay.
and run that command, AWS IAM list hyphen users.
Okay. Hyphen AWS hyphen list IAM user, right? Is it correct?
AWS space IAM space
Okay.
list hyphen users.
Okay.
There's an S at the end. You're missing an S.
Okay. Okay. AWS.
You can use your arrow keys up and down to go back to the previous command.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, so hit enter, and this will show you the current users you have in your account.
Okay.
So you have only one user as of now, which is your Prokshit. What's the user ID? What's the ARN, and when this user was created?
Yeah.
This is how you're interacting with AWS using CLI. Let's say you want to create a new user.
Okay.
So, can you find out the command for creating a new user?
AWS IAM help is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Create. Yeah. Create user. Okay.
Okay, now how do we use that command?
Yeah. AWS create user. Have IAM create user.
Help.
Okay. Okay. So after. Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay. So is it correct?
Yeah, go down and you should see an example command.
Yeah.
So you can see an example command how they are passing it.
Oh yeah.
So that is how you'll have to pass the command.
Okay. Okay.
So try creating a user with my name.
Okay. Yes.
And done. So now if you go back to the console, you should be
Okay.
able to see the user.
Okay. So how do I get back?
UI, the console
Okay.
in the browser. So there's my user. So
Amazing.
this is basically your CLI.
Okay.
So whatever you're doing in the UI, everything can be done using commands.
Okay.
Any questions until here?
No.
Bharat?
No, sir. No, sir.
Now, let's say my requirement is I want to list my existing S3 buckets. Can you find out the command for that?
Okay. S3 is AWS.
Mm-hmm.
AWS help. Available commands. Okay. Okay. So I have this commands.
Mm-hmm.
AWS. So what am I supposed to do?
I want you to list existing buckets.
Okay. S3 list help. Okay.
Do you have list in available commands?
LS is it list?
AWS LS S3.
S3ls.
AWS.
Okay.
S3.
Hit enter.
Okay. So I don't have to use help, is it?
No, I mean, see, ls you can, but it would still return you the same command.
Okay. Okay.
So here you're getting an empty output.
Correct.
Why?
Because
Because
there is
no
no.
buckets we have created.
Yeah.
Yes, because you don't have any buckets. Now let's say I want you to create one bucket from here.
Yeah. Create. Okay. So this is.
The command would be mb. mb stands for make bucket. All right.
Okay.
Now find out the exact command. How do you use that command?
Okay. S3L.
No, it would be AWS S3 mb help.
Okay. Okay.
So further down, it will show you how you can use this command.
Example. Okay.
Yeah, so that is how you will be passing the command.
Got it. So instead of my bucket, I can rename, is it?
You can give whatever you want. That is just an example command.
Okay. So it's created.
Done. So now if you run that ls command once again, you should be able to see the bucket now.
Yeah.
And also in the console, if you go to your AWS console, there also you should be able to see this bucket.
Okay. Oh. Yeah,
So there
I can bucket.
So I'm getting one doubt. I'm getting an error.
What is the error?
Yeah, I will share my screen.
Yeah.
I can see my screen.
Yes.
Here I'm getting like AWS LS.
We can see your browser only.
Okay, 1 minute. Now you can see.
Yes.
AWS LS S3.
No. See, it is always okay. Remember this. First will be the command AWS.
Okay.
Second will be the service that you want to work with.
Okay.
And then the command for that service.
Okay, it's telling product region name AWS help doesn't match the supported
So
format.
in this case, the region name that you have given is not correct. So can you run that AWS configure command once again? Yeah, hit enter, enter. Wait, hold.
Okay.
See, for the region name you have given AWS help.
Okay.
That is not right.
Okay.
Okay, so just hit enter once again and run the AWS configure command, and again enter again and hold. Now here, what do you think will be the region name?
Amazon AWS East one.
US-East-1.
Yes. One.
Enter, enter. Now try the ls command once again. Access denied. So okay, so
Access.
now this is problem with your access key and secret key. Okay,
Okay.
so the credentials that you have created, it does not have the necessary permissions.
Okay.
So show me your IAM user that you created in the console. Click on your users.
This one I have created.
Okay,
CLI.
wait, permissions. Okay, so here you're using your custom policies.
Yes.
Now, can you click on that plus symbol on the left of your test underscore policy?
Test underscore policy.
Yeah, expand that. And you can see this is all the permissions you have. You only have access to IAM.
Okay.
Okay, so basically it is complaining about permissions.
Okay. Okay.
We will be adding permissions. On the right hand side, you can see add permissions.
Sorry.
Right hand side, you can see add permissions. Up top right.
Add permissions.
Yeah, add permissions. And again, yeah, add permissions and go with attach policies directly, the third tab. Yeah. And then we will give administrator access. So administrator access is full access.
Okay.
The second permission. Second one. Yeah, check the box.
Okay.
Yeah, and then scroll down to the bottom and click next.
Add permission.
Yes. Now if you go back to the CLI and run the command once again, that error should be gone.
Okay. Now no buckets are created.
So now you should be able to create a bucket and list it once again.
Okay.
Cool. So let me share my screen.
Okay.
So to start using CLI, you can run AWS configure command. This will prompt you for the access key and the secret key, region name and the output format. Provide the access key and secret key to work with the CLI from the command line. Provide the region you want to start working in for the services, and then provide the output format like JSON, text, etc. And then you can start running the command. So here I've given some example commands as well. But again, like I said, even if you don't know the command, it's totally fine. There's a documentation readily available. You can always find out the command, how to work with the service, what is the command. Everything is readily available for you. As long as you know where to find it, you can easily work with your CLI. Okay, so that's all I have as part of your CLI. Any questions?
No.
No.
All right, so then we'll be stopping here. Tomorrow we'll be starting off with your next service, which will be your CloudFront. Okay, so we will look at that tomorrow. Yeah, I think pretty much that's it.
Ravi, I had one doubt regarding this one, like, EC2. So I was watching the videos again. So do you remember, like, during the target group, I mean, we create the listener and all. So there is an option called health check, and we give the path, right? Health check path. So in our
Yes.
case, we gave like, index HTML that we created. So,
Yes.
so for example, if we want to monitor the plan view site, like, our plan view site, so
Mhm.
we go to the first page, and then, like, in the website there'll be different options, right? Like career page, product
Yes.
page. So
Yes.
this how do we give that entire website path? Like, for example, all the path should be working, like the entire website would be working, not only the home page. So will it take the home page, or like, how does that work, the path?
Okay. So see, the whole point of your target group is to tell your load balancer that okay, I have a server, and this server is working as expected. Now,
Okay.
when we talk about an application, your application is up if you're able to hit the URL,
Okay.
right? Now, after that, accessing the different buttons and all those things, that's a different story altogether.
Okay.
Step one, the most important step is, are you able to access the application or not?
Okay.
Okay, so that is what my target group is doing. So I'm telling
Okay.
my target group that you hit this index.html, which is my home page.
Okay.
If you're able to get 200 response for this, my server is healthy.
Okay.
If you don't get a 200 response, my server is unhealthy, and my load balancer will not send the traffic.
Okay.
Now, coming back to your question, where can we monitor everything? For that, you'll be using CloudWatch.
CloudWatch. Okay. Got it. Got
Okay,
it.
that's not the job of your target group.
Okay. Okay.
All right, because say different components, there might be different issues. Some component may work, some component may not work, but this
Okay.
is just a health check. It is just to tell, okay, the page is up and running.
Okay.
Now, whether the application is working or not, that's a different story.
Got it.
All right, so that is generally how we follow. Now, if you want to monitor the entire application, then that's different way for doing it. Target
Okay.
group is only like, monitoring the heartbeat. Like, okay,
Okay.
it's like you can think of it like, okay, the heart is working, but still the other parts may not be working. I'm not worried about that. I want
Okay.
to know whether the heart is working or not. That's all.
Okay.
That's what we're trying to do.
Thank you. Thank you, Ravi.
Any other questions?
No.
No, sir.
Cool. Then I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Sir. Thank you.